Can you believe this circus? Ms. McBirth throws down the gauntlet, accusing Ms. Jackson of slinging mud on social media by calling her family deadbeats, which sparked a $1,000 defamation lawsuit. The courtroom's buzzing with tension now, setting us up for a roller coaster of a session. Just wait, the plot thickens.
You petitioned the court for a DNA test to prove your son, Kakitho Hughes, is not father of Ms. Jackson's 2-year-old son, Elijah Jackson. Furthermore, you're suing Ms. Jackson for $1,000 for defamation of character because you claim she posted comments on social media claiming you and your family are deadbeats.
Just when you thought it couldn't get spicier, Ms. McBirth doesn't hold back, slamming Ms. Jackson with labels like trash, trouble, trifler, and fervently denying the paternity of the child based on looks. Her fierce disdain sets the stage for some fiery exchanges. Buckle up because the fireworks are just getting started.
So, Ms. McBirth, why do you believe your son's not the father?
This woman is trouble. She is trouble with a capital T. I call her the 3 T's. Trash, trouble, and trifling. That's what she is. The little boy looks nothing like my son, any member of my family.
Did that just escalate quickly, or what? In a bold move, Ms. McBirth presents a photo to the court claiming there's zero family resemblance to the child in question. She's standing her ground hard, making clear she sees no biological connection. Get ready, because the tension is about to soar even higher.
A photo of your son and the child in question, and you say the child looks nothing like your son.
That baby white as snow. There's no way that could be my grandchild or my son's baby. He has no features like none of us. Nobody in my family looked like that.
And just by looking at this child, you've determined and said to yourself, I do not believe that's my grandchild.
That can't happen. There's no way.
Hold on to your seats, folks. The courtroom turns into a verbal battleground as accusations of promiscuity and deceit are hurled at Ms. Jackson. Ms. McBirth and her camp are adamant. No way is that child related to them. They're painting a picture of Ms. Jackson that's anything but pretty. Strap in. The drama's about to dial up.
All she has done, she's been trying to put the baby on us.
Yeah, you have. Don't sit up and act like you haven't.
But the thing about her,
she's trying to push that baby. That ain't mine. I didn't sleep with her.
When you say she's trying to push the baby on you, what do you mean?
She wants me to acknowledge that that child is my son. That's not gonna happen.
No, I think she's more so upset.
Tell me about the first time you met Elijah.
I seen him at the doctor's office where I was taking his real children to the doctor.
Whoa, did she just say that? In an emotional outburst, Ms. McBirth vents about being overwhelmed by numerous paternity claims linked to her son, reflecting her deep frustration with the whole messy situation. Her tirade really lays bare the toll it's taken. You think that was intense? Just wait for what's next.
I'm sick of all these little hookers trying to say my son is the daddy. I get babies dropped off here, dropped off there. I'm sick of it.
But
it stops today, because that baby is not mine.
Because you just had a wild sex party that got shut down by the police station last. Yes, you did.
Some hoes in this
That
house.
is not.
Yes, it is. It is true. Because why is your neighbors complaining about the sex?
Can you feel the heat in here? The court reviews a picture of Mr. Hughes kissing Elijah, sparking a heated debate about whether he could really be the father. Ms. McBirth is visibly shaken, almost disgusted by the implication. Keep your eyes peeled because the climax is just around the corner.
When you look at this picture,
it makes me want
like your son is kissing the baby. It makes you want to throw up. Why? For your son to be kissing an innocent child?
Because it's not his.
It doesn't matter, really. If he's showing the child, your brother is sleeping with her and not using protection. Couldn't he possibly be Elijah's father?
You know
no,
what?
not in this case.
Mama's baby's papa's maybe.
Talk about a game changer. The moment of truth hits like a freight train as the DNA results confirm.
In the case of McBirth, Terrell v. Jackson, pertaining to 2-year-old Elijah Jackson, and whether Mr. Hughes is the father, Mr. Hughes, you are Elijah's father.
Can you even handle this twist? Miss Moore reveals to Judge Lake that she kept a lifelong secret from her son, leading to their estrangement 2 months prior. The court has conducted a paternity test to determine the truth, the results of which are pending. This secret concerns the paternity of her son, which she had concealed for nearly 3 decades. You won't believe what comes next. It's a real doozy.
Your son has brought you to court today, but you've asked to have some time alone with me before he enters the courtroom, present his case against you. You haven't seen your son since a lifelong secret exposed just 2 months ago. The court has already issued a paternity test, and those results will be revealed today. What was the secret that you kept for almost 3 decades?
This next revelation is straight out of a soap opera. Mr. Weeks discusses his growing suspicion that the man who raised him might not be his biological father. He recounts hearing rumors from other family members during his childhood and his mother's consistent denial when confronted. This confrontation highlights the emotional and familial complexities surrounding the issue of paternity. The drama doesn't stop here, folks. The next clip is even more riveting.
It started around like I was 9 years old. I kept hearing rumors from outside family members. Maurice might not be my father, but I always get the same result. For a long time, I got the same result. though.
Your Honor, he never asked me. I would have told him.
I came to her and asked her. She always told me, Maurice is your father.
Hold on to your seats. This is a big one. An emotional confrontation occurs when Mr. Weeks demands the truth from his mother about his paternity. Miss Moore shockingly admits her uncertainty about his father's identity. This admission sets the stage for a deeper exploration of family secrets and their impacts. You won't want to miss what happens next. It's a jaw-dropper.
I came through the door, then I just came after. The plane, you can't lie to me no more. I can't hear that Maurice Weeks is your father. I had to know the truth. She came to me and said, I don't know who is your father.
I did.
Just like that.
I did.
This part is a real tearjerker. Miss Moore expresses her sacrifices and the emotional pain she endured keeping the secret about Mr. Weeks' paternity. She justifies her actions by stressing the stability and love provided by Maurice, the man who raised Erla. This moment underscores the difficult choices she made to maintain familial harmony. But wait, there's more heartache on the way. Keep watching.
I will be there for your children through I wasn't going to change that. I wasn't going to jeopardize my other children just for one.
And I
sacrificed and heard it over there. Even though when Earl came to me and told me in the race, I heard it from my child. I never wanted my children to hurt.
Get ready for another bombshell. As the discussion about potential paternity continues, Miss Moore admits to having relations with another man shortly before conceiving Erla, increasing her doubts about Maurice being the father. This revelation adds complexity to her earlier decisions and highlights the challenges she faced in maintaining the secret. The tension escalates as the implications of this information begin to sink in for everyone involved. Strap in, because the emotional roller coaster continues.
Dating
there may be another man involved.
And how do you have this doubt? How these two men in a very
short time frame, like maybe 24 to 48 hours. Then it became more doubtful, and I noticed the difference.
So this has been a painful secret for you to just hold in
my whole life. I had doubts, yes, because I noticed things with Earl that wasn't a part of my reason.
This confession is about to shake things up. In a heartfelt statement, Miss Moore explains the pressure of societal and familial expectations that influenced her decision to keep Erla's paternity secret. She expresses deep regret and a desire to have been more open, emphasizing her protective love for her children. This moment reveals the emotional burden of her decision and her longing for familial acceptance and love. Just when you thought it couldn't get more emotional, the next revelation will rock you.
I named Earl after my mother because I wanted her to love me. If she thought I was a loose in his children, and I would have loved Earl no matter what, and I would have did anything I could to protect him. Reese was there. He loved him. He took care of Earl to be in a rage right now. He needs to understand, and I wouldn't have hurted him for nothing. He was my special child.
This is where things start to turn around. Judge Lake encourages the family to move forward, recognizing the presence of deep emotions and love among them. She highlights the generational differences in handling such family matters, acknowledging the cultural context in which Miss Moore made her decisions. The judge's remarks aim to foster understanding and healing among the family members. You won't believe the heartfelt moment that's coming up. Get those tissues ready.
This court is about moving forward and how to do that. Attack against Miss Moore and your condemnation of her decision is based upon your love and watching the way but your family, and that's natural. I didn't grow up in this era, but I remember the generation before me. If a young person got pregnant, they'd go off down south or somewhere for a year. I don't know if any of you remember that, and they just disappear.
Brace yourselves for this earth-shattering news. The paternity test results are revealed.
As it relates to Mr. Earl Weeks, man who has raised you for the past 29 years is not your biological father. Helper.
Let's set the scene. Ms. Casey steps up with a bombshell. Ms. Casey, you say that for more than 25 years, your mother has told you that a deceased man who is listed on your birth certificate is your biological father. Hold tight, because this mystery is about to get a whole lot thicker.
Ms. Casey, you say that for more than 25 years, your mother has told you that a deceased man who is listed on your birth certificate is your biological father.
Yes, Your Honor.
As we wade deeper into the drama, another contender enters the ring. Now, another man, Mr. Edwards, is claiming he is your biological father. Stay tuned. Plot is about to thicken even further.
Now, another man, Mr. Edwards, is claiming he is your biological father. You say you are sure Mr. Edwards is not your daughter's father. In fact, you say you are 100% certain that a man named Otis Hawkins, who you claim was shot and killed, is in fact your daughter's biological father.
Yes, Your Honor.
The air is thick with tension attention, and Mr. Edwards throws his hat in the ring. And, Mr. Edwards, you claim that you and Ms. Ewing were still in a sexual relationship at the time her daughter was conceived, and hope to prove that you are indeed Ms. Casey's biological father. Brace yourselves. The emotional fireworks are just beginning.
You claim that you and Miss Ewing were still in a sexual relationship at the time her daughter was conceived and hope to prove that you are indeed Miss Casey's biological father.
Yes, Your Honor.
Ms. Casey takes the floor, and it's heart-wrenching. Actually, it's been hell, not knowing where I came from. Her story tugs at the heartstrings, paving the way for what's coming next.
Actually, it been hell, not knowing where I came from. I built a bond with Otis Hawkins, who's on my birth certificate, even though he's not ever been in my life. I do not know what the man looks like. I don't have a picture of him. I don't have anything about him, but...
Now it's Ms. Ewing's turn to spill the beans. Ms. Ewing, when you hear your daughter talk about how much it hurt to grow up, the room is thick with anticipation. What she says next might just flip the script.
Ms. Ewing, when you hear your daughter talk about how much it hurt to grow up without her father, how do you feel?
It hurts me to find out that's how she feels. If I would have knew that that's what she needed, I would have did my best to help her, but I did not know.
Just when you thought it couldn't get more intense, Ms. Ewing drops a shocker. I called his cousin to see did she want to spend time with LaConda, and she informed me then that he had been shot in the head. The crowd is left stunned, but keep your eyes peeled, there's more drama ahead.
I called his cousin to see did she want to spend time with LaConda. Informed me then that he had been shot by his brother and he was deceased. LaConda was 7 years old. I didn't want to tell her until she got older. I didn't know how to tell her. And I'm telling you exactly what I was told.
Were you all in a committed relationship?
Yes, ma'am, we was until he came back from overseas.
Emotions run high as Mr. Edwards makes a heartfelt declaration. I was looking for them. His determination to mend broken bonds is moving. But hold on, the emotional roller coaster is about to hit another loop.
I am so sorry. I felt like this. We lost one. Losing this one. I'm not losing you.
Why are you so convinced that you're her father?
I don't even understand how I can tell. It's like the hair stands up on my back. She looks so much like my family. She's got everything that my mom had. I got 6 other daughters.
Ms. Casey isn't giving up. Her detective work is relentless. I got on a social network and I found Otis Hawkins, and he was in Natchez, Mississippi. Her pursuit of the truth is dogged, and just when you think you've seen it all, the next twist comes barreling down the track.
Eventually, when I got over the age of 18, me and my husband sat down and we did a research. I got on a social network. He was in Natchez, Mississippi. They did not disclose if he was, but they have gave me 2 addresses and 3 phone numbers. Contacted the 3 numbers that I had for him. They was all disconnected. So at that point, me being frustrated.
Just when you think you've got a handle on things, the judge throws a curveball, but he's alive. This bombshell revelation flips the entire case on its head, and guess what? The surprises aren't over yet.
You've been told for over 25 years that Otis Hawkins, the man you believe to be your father, was dead, but he's alive. And we found him for you.
Oh my
Mr. Hawkins,
God.
into the courtroom.
Come here, LaConda.
You need to sit down? You okay?
Mr. Hawkins shares his heartfelt story, adding layers to this emotional saga. I stayed in California because she was just born. His recollection adds depth to the narrative, and the next piece of the puzzle is about to be placed.
It was pretty good at first. It just, after some years, when I was overseas when LaConda was born, when I got back, she was like about maybe 2 or 3 months. That was the only Christmas that I didn't go back to Mississippi to see my parents. I stayed in California because she was just born.
Hold on to your seats because the paternity results are in.
In the case of Casey versus Ewing, Edwards, Hawkins, pertaining to whether Mr. Edwards is the father of Ms. Casey. Mr. Edwards, you are not her father.
You won't believe this twist. Judge Lake addresses Ms. Webster, who reveals shocking news that Myron Smith, who she thought was her father and even paid child support, might not be her biological father. This revelation sets the stage for the court's investigation, as Ms. Webster seeks to prove that Mr. Ware is indeed her father. Brace yourself, it gets wilder from here.
You recently learned shocking news that Myron Smith, the man you believe to be your dad and who paid child support for you, may not be your biological father. Now you've dragged the defendant, Mr. Ware, to paternity court to prove that he is your father and claim today's results will prove your case.
Yes, Your Honor.
Hold on to your popcorn. It's getting juicy. Ms. Webster discusses the origins of her doubts about her paternity. She was told by relatives at the beauty salon that she wasn't really part of their family, which led her to question her mother and Mr. Smith, the man she thought was her father. Her doubts deepened when she discovered she and Mr. Smith do not share the same blood type. But guess what? It ramps up even more next.
I worked in a beauty salon with some of his relatives. A relative say that that's not none of your father. I started questioning. I asked my mom, I talked to Mr. Smith, like, why are they a part of their family? family.
When you questioned Mr. Smith, what did he say?
You will always be my daughter. I believe in my heart that you are, and no matter what, you'll always be my daughter.
Can you handle more drama? Because here it comes. Years later, seeking answers, Ms. Webster visits Mr. Ware at his church. She describes a moment of prayer where she felt a significant, possibly divine connection to Mr. Ware, who was unknowingly standing right behind her. This moment intensifies her belief that Mr. Ware might be her father. The suspense is building, and you won't believe what happens next.
We went to visit him at his church. I knew who he was, but he didn't know who I was. I just been praying, that I find out who my father is. There's roadblocks and stumbles I've been going through. There's things and knowing who my father is one of them. And I came to the Lord. I went to the altar and I went up and I'm praying and I'm nervous, but I just felt this energy. And when they asked for the prayer warriors to come out.
The plot thickens yet again. Mr. Smith testifies about the timeline of Ms. Webster's conception, suggesting he couldn't be the father based on his military deployment. Despite paying child support, he expresses doubt about his paternity, complicating the narrative and adding to Ms. Webster's uncertainty. And just when you thought you'd heard it all, there's more intrigue to come.
As you know, we're here discussing the paternity as it relates to Miss Webster. You've been paying child support.
Yes, I have.
But you don't believe you're her biological father.
No, I don't. I can tell you why. Miss Webster was born September the 17th, which means that she had to be conceived either late December or January. I was in the United States Army, stationed in Fort Hood, Texas. She was born September the 17th. Last time I was home on leave was late November.
Buckle up. The emotional roller coaster is not over yet. The climax of the episode occurs when the paternity test results are revealed.
It has been determined by this court. Mr. Ware, you are not her father.
Courtroom drama heats up early on. Ms. McBirth is suing Ms. Jackson for a cool $1,000 for defamation of character, alleging Ms. Jackson unleashed a series of scandalous comments on social media. She claims these comments tagged her and her kin as deadbeats, stirring significant personal turmoil and a family uproar. Just wait. The emotional thermometer is about to burst.
Furthermore, you're suing Ms. Jackson for $1,000 for defamation of character because you claim she posted comments on social media claiming you and your family are deadbeats.
The air thickens with tension as Ms. McBirth launches into a tirade. She unloads on Ms. Jackson with a barrage of derogatory labels, calling her trash, trouble, and trifling. She lays down a vehement denouncement of Ms. Jackson, highlighting stark differences in appearance between Ms. Jackson's child and her own family, steadfast in her claim that there's no way the child could be her son's. Buckle up, because the verbal fireworks are just getting started.
So, Ms. McBirth, why do you believe your son's not the father?
She is trouble with a capital T. I call her the 3 T's. Trash, trouble, and trifling. That's what she is. The little boy looks nothing like my son or any member of my family.
Absolutely, ma'am. What did you bring? Piece of evidence, Jerome, may I see that, please? A photo of your son and the child in question?
Right.
And you say the child looks nothing like your son?
That baby white as snow. There's no way grandchild or my son's baby.
Just when you think things can't get more fiery, a heated debate explodes over the child's paternity, with accusations zipping about Ms. Jackson's intentions and character. Ms. McBirth stands her ground fiercely, convinced that Ms. Jackson is attempting to foist an unrelated child upon her family, her doubts and animosity boiling over. Hold tight as the plot thickens even further.
When you say she's trying to push the baby on you, what do you mean?
She wants me to acknowledge that that child is my son. That's not gonna happen.
No, I think she's more so upset.
Tell me about the first time you met Elijah.
I seen him at the doctor's office where I was taking his real children to the doctor, past them, and I kind of glanced over there, and white baby, I knew it wasn't mine, and I ain't had nothing to say or do about it since then. She need to get that out of her head. That child is not my son's baby.
You won't believe this next part. Ms. McBirth lets loose a torrent of frustration about the lineup of women claiming her son is the father of their kids, painting a picture of a recurring nightmare that has heaped a heavy burden on her shoulders. She expresses her exhaustion and irritation at what she views as an endless parade of false paternity claims. The saga continues, and it's juicier than ever.
I'm sick of all these little hookers trying to say my son is the daddy. I get babies dropped off here, dropped off there. I'm sick of it.
But
it stop, because that baby is not my son.
Here's the thing that she does.
It is.
Sorry.
That's a lie.
Yes, she's a liar because you just had a wild sex party that got shut down by the police station last night.
Hello.
Oh, man.
Yes.
Things are reaching a boiling point. As the court session progresses, it's crystal clear that both Ms. McBirth and her son, Mr. Hughes, have a rocky relationship with Ms. Jackson. The mother airs out her profound vexation with her son's irresponsible antics, which have repeatedly resulted in paternity dramas. Gear up, because there's more turbulence ahead.
Do you have anything to say about your son's behavior?
My son I know exactly what type of person he is. He just as trifling as she is. He's a handsome guy. He's my son. What he do, he's still gonna be my son.
When you look at this picture,
it make me want to throw up.
It seems like your son is kissing the baby. It makes you want to throw up.
Why?
For your son to be kissing an innocent child?
Because it's not his.
It doesn't
really if he's showing the child?
Are you ready for more courtroom roller coaster? The paternity test results come thundering in.
Pertaining to 2-year-old Elijah Jackson, and whether Mr. Hughes is the father. Mr. Hughes, you are Elijah's father.
Strap in for this wild ride. Ms. Beckley comes out swinging, claiming she's in court to prove Mr. Allen is the biological father of her 1-year-old daughter, Idale Beckley. Her frustration is palpable as she recounts how Mr. Allen has barely been involved, demanding he step up to the plate today. Buckle up, because the courtroom is heating up.
Beckley, you are in court today to prove Mr. Allen is the biological father of your 1-year-old daughter, Idale Beckley. You say Mr. Allen has only seen his daughter one time since she has been born, and you want him to take responsibility starting today.
Yes, Your Honor.
You won't see this twist coming. Mr. Allen throws a curveball by declaring his certainty that he is not Idale's biological father, blaming Ms. Beckley's claims for causing friction in his current relationship. He questions the conception timeline and relationship dynamics, making everyone in the room lean in a bit closer. Things are about to get even more tangled.
Mr. Allen, you say are more than certain you are not biological father and claim Ms. Beckley's accusations are driving a wedge between you and your fiance.
Yes, Your Honor.
Grab your popcorn, folks. Ms. Beckley pours her heart out, describing the emotional toll of Mr. Allen's absence on her and Idale. She's not holding back, sharing her struggles with single parenthood and her deep-seated anger towards Mr. Allen for his neglect. And just when you think it can't get more intense, it does.
I'm angry. She's without a father, you know, and it's just, it's terrible that she has to go through that, and I'm raising her on my own. I just feel like you should be a dad to her, because you are her father.
And you feel like he's just neglecting your child.
He's neglecting her. With the other 2 kids we have, he's in their life, but you're not in hers. And it makes me feel like wow, like really?
Oh, it's getting spicy now. A fiery debate erupts about the specifics of Mr. Allen and Ms. Beckley's relationship around the time Idale was conceived, including a detailed recount of their less than romantic encounters. Every detail is scrutinized under the courtroom's microscope. Stick around, because the fireworks are just beginning.
Well, me and Ms. Beckley had separated. We were co-parenting. We were still good friends.
On Germany's 2nd birthday, he wasn't staying with me, but he ended up coming back on her birthday. We had sex, unprotected.
It wasn't baby-making sex. It was angry sex.
It's not about baby-making sex. Sex is sex.
It was
baby-making, love-making,
hate-making,
sex is sex, and she's still here as a baby. It don't matter what type of sex it was unprotected.
It was angry sex. I was mad at the fact that she put me at the house, that I had been there taking care of her and the children.
Here's where it gets juicy. Ms. Beckley reveals bombshell evidence showing Mr. Allen's signature on the birth certificates of their other kids, but notably absent on Idale's. Her disappointment is loud and clear as she calls him out for missing crucial moments, like her emergency C-section. Wait till you see Mr. Allen's comeback.
I was at the hospital by myself. He was not there. I have evidence.
I'd like to see it.
He signed Germany's and Xavier's birth certificate. Hers is not signed.
So the first one is for Germany, Jacqueline Allen. Second one, Xavier Dantes Tyrell Jerome Allen. Third one, Idale Lisa Alexandria Beckley. No father listed. You didn't even give her his last name.
He don't deserve it.
Can you feel the heat? Mr. Allen accuses Ms. Beckley of blocking him from taking a DNA test not once, but twice, which he says fueled his paternity doubts. His frustration is off the charts as he claims these actions show her dishonesty. The judge's eyebrows are about to reach her hairline.
The point is, I'm trying to understand your doubt, Mr. Allen.
Denied me the DNA test not once, but twice. That's what gave me further doubt. For the fact that the way she told me that she's pregnant was too fast, the time of conception, she said that the baby went full term, April 1st. The baby was due March 11th.
Things are getting heated. The judge steps in, spotlighting the ongoing chaos and dysfunction between Ms. Beckley and Mr. Allen, emphasizing the negative impact on their daughter, Idale. She doesn't mince words, calling out their harmful dance of arguments. Get ready, because the judge is about to lay down the law.
I'm starting to understand what's going on here. You know this choreography. Arguing and dysfunction and yelling and back and forth. You all do this well.
Your Honor, I stepped away,
And
Your
this
Honor.
little girl is the one suffering because she's a year old with no father.
Watch as the plot thickens. Enter Mr. Allen's fiancé, who stirs the pot by alleging that Ms. Beckley told another man he was the father, which adds layers of drama and doubt to the already sizzling courtroom saga. The anticipation is building, and you won't believe what's up next.
Mr. Allen, you brought a witness. I'd like to hear from her. Ma'am, please state. State your name for the record.
Cheyenne Montgomery. I'm Darius' fiance. She has told Darius that he was not the father. It's been said that she's told another guy he was the father.
Okay, y'all got proof of that, and y'all fiancés with a ring at?
Girl, mind your business.
You have no business. That's why you're here. Because you're worried about, was you in the bed with me and him when we had her?
And now, the moment of truth. The DNA test results are in.
It has been determined by this court. Mr. Allen,
You are the father.
Told you. You too, fiance. Stepmama.
Here we go again. Can you believe it's Ms. Austin's third time stepping into this courtroom? She's back with the same opponent, Mr. Wallace, and this time it's about the paternity of her 9-month-old son, Ronald. The saga continues, and you might want to grab some popcorn because the drama unfolds even more from here.
This is your third time here in our courtroom with Mr. Wallace and Ms. Roberts. Previously, you were here because Mr. Wallace questioned the paternity of your other child, but now you find yourself in the same situation. Today, you say you need to prove to Mr. Wallace that he is the father of your 9-month son, Ronell, so that he can begin to step up and be a father.
Hold on to your seats, folks. Mr. Wallace is throwing doubt like confetti at a parade, questioning if he's really the father of Ronell. His doubt is as thick as the tension in the room, all stemming from his suspicions about Ms. Austin's loyalty. Just wait until you hear what he says next. It's a doozy.
Mr. Wallace, you claim you have multiple reasons to doubt when it comes to whether or not you are the biological father of this child, and hope today is your last visit to this courtroom.
Let's take a quick trip down memory lane. We're thrown into a flashback that gives us the lowdown on their past court battles and the shaky ground of their relationship. It's like watching a soap opera, but in court. The stakes are high and the emotions higher. Brace yourself. The courtroom's about to turn up the heat.
Is an innocent baby. Like, I ain't have a father in my life, so I don't want my kids.
She is a whore.
Mr. Wallace, you're not going to woman in this courtroom that way. You better fight yourself. Get out of the courtroom, Mr. Wallace.
I never had anybody to be a man. Just need help on.
And that's why we're here.
Just when you think you've seen it all, the courtroom turns into a reality show set. Ms. Austin and Ms. Roberts can't keep their cool, and chaos ensues with screams and a bit of a scuffle, leading to Ms. Roberts' exit stage left. The dust will settle, but not before more fireworks.
She was sleeping around.
If I'm dead, so why you keep on sleeping with me? Why? Pregnant again!
Easy access.
Say that about
All
her,
right.
yeah.
Allow me to sleep.
I'm gonna keep on just because I know that you with her. She's
So,
allowed.
I don't have that.
Yes,
If you
do.
can sleep with somebody else,
Yes,
man,
you
then
do.
you got low
You, I know you're not
Ladies,
talking.
ladies.
I know you Let's get some order.
Fasten your seatbelts, because the accusations are flying faster than a speeding bullet. The courtroom becomes a hotbed of revelations about past infidelities and mistrust. Mr. Wallace is adamant about his doubts, and Ms. Austin is on the defensive. The tension could be cut with a knife. Wait until you see the next twist.
You were outlining that you felt like Ms. Austin was sleeping around.
If you're talking to other people right after you're pregnant, I'm gonna have doubts about the child.
Miss Austin, are you admitting that you also had a relationship with somebody else during the time?
No, I wouldn't even call it a relationship.
It was just someone else you were seeing.
Talking to, because I was hurt. Trying to get back to Ed Rangel, things that he has done to me.
And now, the moment we've all been waiting for. Drum roll, please. Judge Lake reveals the results of the DNA test.
It has been determined by this court. Mr. Wallace, you are Ronell's father.
Can you believe that reaction? At the 10-second mark, the audience warmly greets the court with a good day. Shortly thereafter, Mr. Barlow asserts that his 8 children bear a strong resemblance to him, unlike Ms. Winslow's son, Jabril, leading him to doubt his paternity. The implication is clear as he directly states that he is not Jabril's father, raising questions about the child's true lineage. Just when you think it's settling, the next moment adds even more spice.
Good day, everyone.
Good day, Jan.
Mr. Barlow, you say your 8 kids look exactly like you, but the defendant's son, Jabril, looks nothing like you. And that's because you're not his father, and you know who is.
Yes, Your Honor.
This accusation just raised the stakes. During this segment, Mr. Barlow expresses his suspicions about Ms. Winslow's fidelity, suggesting she was involved with the landlord during his absence. He reveals his habit of frequent phone checks due to a history of infidelity, further complicating their relationship. The tension escalates with Ms. Winslow defending her actions by emphasizing the landlord's presence was purely professional, a claim met with skepticism by Mr. Barlow, and it only intensifies from here.
Your Honor, I doubt these things due to the fact that during the time of Jabril's conception,
he was around enough for us to conceive.
As I was away, I believe she was sleeping with the landlord.
And that's not possible, Your Honor. The landlord...
Why do you believe that? What evidence do you have?
As I was away, I would call all the time. Plus, I got a long past of infidelity. I got a long history of infidelity. And so I left. When I went away, she said pay back some.
Here's where things start to heat up even more. Mr. Barlow questions the appropriateness of the landlord landlord's late visits, hinting at potential misconduct. Judge Lake tries to rationalize the situation by suggesting that the landlord's presence was necessary for apartment repairs. However, Mr. Barlow remains unconvinced, highlighting unusual timings and activities that fuel his doubts about the nature of the landlord's visits. Keep watching, the tension escalates in the next segment.
Mr. Barlow, clearly if the landlord's going to repair something in the apartment, so if she says, I'm going to call you back because the landlord is here to make sure he's fixing the right thing?
I'm calling at 10 p.m. and he there.
You calling at 10 and he's there. The landlord's at the house at 10 p.m.
Yeah,
And you know why, Your
bids
Honor?
and stuff.
Because he doesn't have contract. He does things
So what his
in a
so-called girlfriend thinking
three-story
about
building
this?
himself.
The drama unfolds further with this revelation. Ms. Winslow recounts her desperate situation after being duped by another landlord, explaining how the current landlord allowed her to move in without an immediate rent payment due to her circumstances. This act of kindness is portrayed by Mr. Barlow as suspicious, suggesting ulterior motives, which leads to further debate about the landlord's role and intentions. The next part brings even more revelations.
Now, you gotta pay me $2,500 for rent, right? For what reason do I say, okay, you ain't got it, just give me $300?
This is what happened. When I moved into this apartment building, I had got duped by a crooked person. The landlord that I was supposed to move into the house in, I paid him $2,000. What I went to do is get my lights cut on, and they told me that the place that I was trying to rent, tell him I have no money. I just gave my $2,000 to a landlord that was crooked, and I can't even move in the house.
This moment is absolutely heart-wrenching. Ms. Winslow tearfully expresses her fears that her son was switched at birth, given his unexplained appearance differences. This emotional revelation comes after she faces constant public scrutiny and questions about her son's ethnicity. The idea of a hospital mix-up is so distressing that it pushes her to conduct personal research on the frequency of such incidents, hoping for answers. As emotional as this is, the conclusion will touch your heart even more.
I did a research online. Here.
Let me see that.
And
What did you
28,000 babies have been switched at the hospital, and find out later on that their parents aren't their biological children.
The fact that there are about 28,000 babies that get switched at birth in the hospital every year. And you have so much doubt, not just surrounding the paternity, but also as to whether or not you're the child's mother, because everywhere you go, people are asking you.
Everywhere I go.
The tension breaks with a moment of truth. In the final resolution, Judge Lake confirms Ms. Winslow's maternity with almost absolute certainty after reviewing the DNA test results.
It has been determined by this court. Mr. Barlow, you are the father.
Thank you, thank you. Thank you.
Buckle up for this wild ride. The court case Fleming versus Jemison kicks off. Miss Fleming is suing the defendant for fraudulent misrepresentation, accusing Miss Jemison of leading her and her son to believe her daughter Aliana is his child. This dramatic introduction sets the stage for an enthralling episode, teeming with paternity mysteries and familial disputes. Just you wait, it's going to get even juicier.
Miss Fleming, you are suing the defendant for fraudulent misrepresentation because you say she deceived you and your son, Calvin, into believing her daughter, Alina, is his child. You've petitioned the court for a paternity test.
Prepare for a twist. Miss Fleming passionately argues the necessity of a DNA test to confirm paternity and seeks to recoup $500 in expenses. Moments later, Miss Jemison drops a bombshell, admitting to having been with another man around the time of conception, but insists that Miss Fleming's son is the father of her child, thickening the plot considerably. Trust me, you'll want to stick around for what's up next.
Asking the court to award you $500 in expenses. Miss Jemison, you admit you slept with another man around the time of conception, but you is your child's grandmother. Why is it so important for you to get a DNA test done today?
Your Honor, it's so important to me. I love Adriana and I love Alina. We want to, as my family needs to know. My son has asked me several times, explains that he does not want his family to not be certain, so that is why we're here today.
You're not going to believe this turn of events. The discussion takes a sharp turn when it's revealed that Miss Fleming's son, Calvin, is incarcerated and unable to attend the DNA test. This complicates things further, emphasizing the high emotional and logistical stakes involved as they opt for a grandparentage test instead. What happens next will definitely raise some eyebrows.
So he is unable to have the DNA test now?
Yes.
Because he's in jail, he's incarcerated.
He's incarcerated.
We were able to perform a grandparentage test to be able to get you some answers today.
Thank you.
Things are heating up now. The court dives into the messy relationship dynamics and the complex history between the parties. Miss Fleming's emotional investment and her deep-seated suspicions shed light on the personal and excruciating excruciating aspects of the paternity dispute over Aliana. And guess what? The drama escalates from here.
What is your relationship with Alina right now?
When all of this stuff first came out, and I found out that my son could possibly have, I wasn't certain. Adriana was very honest about that she wasn't 100% sure. So we kept our distance. We've gone through, and she's here, and she's born, and we've had reason to believe that she is ours. I've spent time with her and gotten very her, and I do love her.
Get ready for some science with a side of drama. The court zeroes in on a genetic trait, an extra digit, purportedly linking the child to Calvin. This genetic clue becomes a pivotal piece of evidence wielded by both sides, showcasing the intersection of medical knowledge and personal convictions in the case. Brace yourself, because the tension is about to skyrocket.
I know because my daughter was a 6-digit, the extra digit, genetic past the father's side of family.
Your Honor, I'm a nurse, and I know that it can't just be there. My son's grandmother is a female, and if she to her family, how can it only be passed by a male? There's also other reason with a genetic trait from my son, because we were in the delivery room when Adriana was having the baby.
The plot thickens. The intensity mounts as both parties spar over whether Aliana physically resembles their respective family members. This segment illuminates the subjective and often contentious nature of using physical traits to establish paternity, with both sides convinced of their narratives. The next segment, it's a doozy.
He told me if something's wrong with your baby, that don't run in my family. I just called Calvin and I asked him, I said, does anybody in your family has an extra digit? He says yes. Then later on in the evening, has the same exact digit, in the same exact hand, in the same exact spot. And I've been with Calvin for 2 years now, on and off, dude.
Like
I see the
mother.
resemblance. She does look just like me, but she does have features that points to him.
And now, the moment of truth. The much anticipated DNA test results are unveiled.
It has been determined by this court, Ms. Fleming and Mr. Carth are not related to Alina Carth.
You won't believe what's starting up here. The episode kicks off with the introduction of the case, Miles v. Turner, where Mr. Miles steps forward with a bold claim to establish paternity for Christine Turner, who is now 37 years old. The court, under the watchful eye of Judge Lauren and the court officer Jerome, gears up to dive into the details of this emotionally charged case. This sets the stage for a deeply personal and emotionally intense legal battle over paternity. The stakes are high, and it's about to get even more gripping. Stay tuned.
You are in court today to prove to your 37-year-old daughter, Christine, that you father.
Yes, ma'am.
You admit you initially denied paternity when she was a baby, are here to right your wrong. Now wants to prove you are not her biological father.
What's she going to say to that? Christine Turner hits back with strong doubts about Mr. Miles being her father, influenced heavily by her mother's claims and Mr. Miles's lengthy absence from her life. She demands answers about his sudden interest after so much time, confronting him directly in the courtroom. This moment spotlights the deep emotional and psychological impact of the paternity dispute on Christine. Buckle up, because the emotional roller coaster is picking up speed.
I don't believe you're my father. My mom says you are not my father. You've been absent for 37 years.
Your mom said that I was your father. Why she changed her story, I have no idea. But that's not the truth. Be able to look for you because I wanted to see who you are and who your family was.
It took you 37 years to do that?
Back when all of this started, I was young and I was stupid. I mean, I was 17 years old when I met your mom.
Didn't see that backstory coming. Mr. Miles unpacks his youth, painting a picture of a brief, chaotic relationship with Christine's mother, which unexpectedly thrust him into legal and paternal challenges. He details his youthful naivety and the messy relationship dynamics that led to his initial paternity denial. His explanation adds layers to the understanding of his past actions and the complexities entangled in the case. Hold tight. Christine's emotional testimony is about to tug at your heartstrings.
No idea even what I was doing in life. And I'm hanging with my friends, and that's when I met your mom. I loved your mom at the time. I really did. But she got mad about something. I don't know. We ended up breaking. A few months later, I'm in court. I didn't even know she was pregnant. I didn't even know she had a baby until I got summons to go to court. Are you the father? And at that time, your mom was not just sleeping with me. She was with other guys.
This part hits right in the feels. Christine opens up about the challenges of growing up fatherless, detailing her academic struggles and the emotional toll it took on her, including time in foster care and extensive therapy. Her raw, emotional testimony highlights the profound, long-term impacts of parental absence on her life. This potent moment drives home the deep personal stakes involved in paternity cases. Just when you think you've caught your breath, a financial bombshell is about to drop.
Really bad as a student. I got in a lot of trouble. I went to foster care 4 years. I went through lots of therapy to forget all this, and I'm back today.
But you're strong and you're not alone. And so this was very difficult for you, because you don't want to believe this and it's not true.
I don't want to believe it. It doesn't take 37 years to find out you might have a daughter or you did have a daughter.
Who could have predicted this twist? The plot thickens dramatically when Mr. Miles reveals a jaw-dropping shocker. He owes $28,000 in back child support, a debt he was clueless about until it rocked his world. This moment dramatically underscores the financial and emotional complexities woven into paternity disputes, highlighting the systemic challenges individuals face when paternity is questioned. Next up, Christine confronts a startling truth about her mother. Get ready for more fireworks.
In 1992, we filed our taxes. Taxes came back and there's a letter. You owe like $28,000 in back child support. And that just shocked me. I knew that was even there.
And you didn't try to find out then?
I did.
What did you do to try to find her, Mr. Miles?
Back then, there was no internet, no cell phones. All you had was people that you knew and telephone lines. And all I had was my family, and nobody seemed to have known where she, because I wasn't there. I was in Alabama. I wasn't in Ohio.
Talk about a plot twist. Ms. Turner stumbles upon a startling revelation about child support payments when an unexpected stack of checks arrives, sparking a fiery confrontation with her mother over who truly deserves the money. This explosive discovery exacerbates the rift between Ms. Turner and her mother, illustrating the broad and far-reaching implications of unresolved paternity issues. The discovery layers additional complexity and emotion into the case. As we gear up for the verdict, the tension is palpable. This is where it all comes to a head.
I did at one point. My mom was staying with me. They had shipped a stack of check into my mailbox. My daughter apparently went to the mail and got mail. Grandma, your name is on this. My mom opened it and it was a stack of child support check. Where'd you get that from? You never raised any of your children. That should not be going to you. And I didn't talk to her for a year after.
Are you ready for the big reveal? The courtroom reaches a fever pitch as the paternity test results are disclosed.
It has been determined by this court. Jamiel, you are not the father.
Can you believe this? Right out of the gate, Mr. Ellis and his brother drag their mother into court to unravel a family mystery about their dad, thinking it might actually be their uncle. They've been wrestling with this suspicion about their dad for years, and now it's time to settle it once and for all. Grab your popcorn because you're not going to want to miss what's next.
Mr. Ellis, you and your brother have brought your mother to court today because you say you've always believed the man in this photograph is your father. Then, just recently, you learned that your biological father may actually be your father's brother.
You've got to hear this bombshell. Mrs. Shivers spills the beans, admitting she had a fling with not just her husband, but his brother too. She kept this juicy secret from her sons all their lives, seeking DNA tests today to uncover the truth and hopefully get a little forgiveness. Buckle up, because the roller coaster is just leaving the station.
Mrs. Shivers, you confess that you slept with both your ex-husband, his brother.
Yes, Your Honor.
You admit you kept that secret from your sons throughout their lives. Now you say you're seeking DNA results to discover the truth and beg for their forgiveness.
Just when you thought it couldn't get more twisted, we dive into how the brothers stumbled upon their mom's big secret during a tipsy confession from Uncle Ronnie at a family BBQ. It turned a casual family gathering into a full-blown soap opera episode. Hold on tight, the next revelation is just around the corner.
We were at a family gathering, just having some drinks or whatever, and Uncle Ronnie came up to me and said, I'm your son.
Basically like a family get-together. It was a family function. You know how people get when they, indulge or whatnot. So he approached my brother.
It's not the truth. Believe whatever you want to believe.
Okay, we're leaving the door open. Assume what you want to assume.
Yeah.
He assumes Ronnie's his dad.
Get ready for a backstory that could rival any daytime drama. Ms. Shivers shares her harrowing tale of survival, making choices out of desperation with both brothers, which paints a complicated picture of her past. It's a mix of regret and do what you gotta do. The saga continues, and trust me, it's a doozy.
Yes, Your Honor, I did. I had no choice. I had nowhere to go. And I ended up at Mama Mildred's house where Ronnie lived. We had a one-time thing, and that was it, which was a big mistake, Your Honor. I did what I had to do to keep a roof over the hip for Eugene.
You know what? My mom did everything in her power and her will and everything to take care of us. It ain't nothing like that. We just want to know what's going on. My brother feels a certain way about something. We here to address that.
This part really tugs at the heartstrings. The conversation turns to how Dad might have shown favoritism, suggesting that the family dynamics are more like a Shakespearean tragedy than a happy family portrait. The emotional depth here is thicker than a bowl of oatmeal. The next twist, it's a real cliffhanger.
So that made me feel some type of way as well.
Unfortunately, we had to take a trip down the road. And my father, he wrote me more than he did my brother. You know what I'm saying? And that's your child. You're supposed to be there through thick and thin like my mom. I heard from her every day of, that when we were in that situation, he didn't reach out to my brother at all. Not really like.
And Ronnie's always been there, right?
Yeah, and Ronnie's always been there
no matter what. what?
Things are heating up. The court decides it's time to bring Uncle Ronnie into the mix to see if he might just be dad material after all. This direct confrontation could change everything about Arthur's paternity. You won't believe what's coming. Prepare for an earthshaker.
You know, we are here with Eugene and Arthur talking about the issues surrounding their paternity, and we're also here hearing testimony from Ms. Shivers that it makes sense of all of the confusion. She slept with you, your brother, and now you may potentially be Arthur's father. Agree with this? Is this your understanding that you could potentially be this young man's biological father?
Yes. Oh, and just when you think you've heard it all, Ms. Shivers throws another curveball into the mix, introducing us to a potential father named Cool Breeze. Yes, that's his name. And yes, it's adding even more spice to this already sizzling story. You'll need to see the next bit to believe it.
I met him when I was waitressing in the restaurant, and he ran a big hotel, you know, gave me jobs and stuff. That's when Eugene was like about 4 or 5, you know, where we had a few drinks and we did have intimacy. He died, you know, it might be a possibility. When I was staying at Mama Mildred's with Ronnie and everybody, applied food and did whatever, right, Ronnie? Mama Mildred's medicine, all of that. The one who hired me, he was giving me the job.
As the truth bubble is about to burst, everyone in the courtroom holds their breath. The judge is about to drop the DNA results that could finally untangle this messy family web. Are you ready for this? Because the truth is just a drumbeat away.
You learned in this courtroom for the first time that your mother said John Ellis may not be your biological father.
That's my dad.
Here are the results. In the case of Eugene Ellis v. Shivers McClellan, pertaining to whether John Ellis is your biological father, it has been determined by this court, John Ellis is your father.
I knew that.
And boom goes the dynamite. DNA results are in.
It has been determined by this court, John Ellis is your father.
Buckle up, everyone. Judge Lake opens the session announcing it as the case of Robinson versus Grant. Mr. Robinson and his wife assert that he is not the father of Ms. Grant's son, Trevorus, and claim to know the actual father. This sets the stage for the legal and emotional complexities that unfold. Things are just heating up, so keep your eyes peeled for what's next.
Mr. Robinson, you and your wife say you are not father of the defendant's son, Trevorus, but know who is.
Yes, Your
You
Honor.
claim she deceived you into believing you were the father to collect child support, and as a result of your inability to pay, your driver's license was suspended and your tax return was taken.
Yes, Your Honor.
Here comes the drama train. Mr. Robinson lays out the severe financial and legal repercussions he's faced due to the paternity dispute, including suspension of his driver's license and garnishment of his tax return. This moment highlights the high stakes involved in paternity issues, affecting various aspects of life. You won't believe what's coming up next.
Today, you're suing Ms. Grant for $124 for license reinstatement fees and plan to return to court in your home state to fight for $1,685.10 in garnished wages.
Yes, Your Honor.
Get ready for some courtroom fireworks. During a heated exchange, Ms. Grant presents an affidavit signed by Mr. Robinson acknowledging paternity. The document intensifies the dispute, demonstrating Mr. Robinson's previous acknowledgement and the potential implications of his claim. Keep watching. The sparks are about to fly even higher.
Where he signed and say that that is his child and that he will pay $60 a month for his child.
This is an affidavit, an admission of paternity, which is basically an acknowledgement of paternity. That's your signature?
Yes, Your Honor.
How old was Mr. Christian Trevorus when this was signed?
I think he was a couple of months, Your Honor.
Time for a trip down memory lane. Ms. Grant recounts the timeline of her relationship with Mr. Robinson, detailing their intimate encounter and subsequent conception of Trevorus. This narrative provides context to the paternity claim and portrays the complex personal histories involved. The story deepens, and trust me, it gets even juicier.
He asked me, he said, you know my birthday is next month. I said, no. He said, yeah, it's November the 28th. He said, can we get together for my birthday? So in November, we got together in the backseat of his burgundy Bonneville. That's where Trevorus would conceive. Finished having sex. He looked me in my face and he said, Tisha, you are pregnant.
Enter Mr. Ellis. With a plot twist, the court hears from Mr. Ellis, who denies claiming paternity, but acknowledges a past relationship with Ms. Grant. This introduces another layer to the paternity puzzle, complicating the emotional and familial dynamics presented in the case. Wait till you hear what he has to say. It's a real doozy.
No, that's a lie. He approached me. He came to me and he said, I heard that Martez was, I said, well, hey, man, hey, look, I didn't tell you to go up there and sign them papers. You know, I feel he is my son because of his mom approached me and said one.
And now, for the moment of truth, sort of. Judge Lake explains the legal ramifications of Mr. Robinson's acknowledgement of paternity, resulting in the denial of his claim for financial relief. This ruling underscores the legal binding of acknowledged paternity. Despite biological discrepancies, the climax is just around the bend, and it's a real shocker.
And Mr. Robinson, $124. You have to apply to get his driver's license reinstated. stated failure to pay his support. And you believe that this was not lawful because he really is not the father. I know exactly why. He's on child support voluntarily and acknowledgement of paternity. He admitted that he was the father legally. And this is what's important, is that ignorance of the law is never an excuse.
Brace for impact, folks. The dramatic climax occurs as the DNA test results are revealed.
It has been determined by this court. Mr. Eddie Ellis, you are not the father.
Buckle up, because this is where the roller coaster starts. Mr. Youngvert steps up, his face a mix of hope and suspicion, laying down the law about his doubts concerning the paternity of Miss Sandnop's 2-year-old daughter, Peyton, all thanks to her past adventures. He's here for a paternity test, hoping science will back his claims. And guess what? The plot thickens next.
Mr. Youngvert, you claim the defendant's infidelities not only caused you to cancel your wedding, but also now to doubt paternity of her 2-year-old daughter, Peyton. You're demanding a paternity test to prove you are not father.
Just when you thought soap operas were dramatic, this happens. Miss Sandnop, with the honesty of a saint, insists she spilled the beans about her boozy night because lying just isn't her style. Yet, Mr. Youngvert, fueled by a cocktail of doubt and disappointment, has put their wedding on ice until DNA says I do too. Strap in, because her next confession is a doozy.
I don't understand why I came clean about it. I mean, if he's still having trust issues, then
He says he's unable to move forward with the wedding until he knows for sure. And that hurts you as well, because you feel like you were honest.
If I was honest with him about that one time, why would I still lie?
There's that doubt once, what's to say there's not that doubt again?
Why would I continue to lie? I did something wrong and I admitted my mistake.
Can you feel the tension? Because it's about to explode. In a tale as old as time, or at least as old as last Friday's happy hour, Miss Sandnop recounts a fateful night that started with a spat and ended with her waking up in Mystery Man's bed, memory wiped cleaner than a new hard drive. This booze-fueled blackout is now Exhibit A in the courtroom drama. But hold on, there's more revelations just around the corner.
Before I got pregnant, Your Honor, it was right before Christmas. It lasted for a couple days and I ended up just wanting to give him a talk to me, and I really honestly didn't want to talk to him at the moment. So I went to the bar and I got drunk and I ended up not remembering anything that happened to me that night. And my intention wasn't to cheat on him. I didn't go out to have sex with another guy. I went out to just recollect my thoughts.
Here's where the emotional earthquake hits. Mr. Youngvert, heartbroken and betrayed, recalls the day he learned of the infidelity. It was more than just a canceled wedding. It was his whole future hanging by a thread. Next up, watch how a smartphone app turns into a key witness.
In the beginning, I had no idea. I had made dinner for her and she sat down. She's like, I got some news for you. And then just right then and there.
And when you heard this news that she had this night and cheated,
I stormed out. I didn't go drink.
You canceled the wedding?
I canceled the wedding. I canceled everything.
He just said the wedding's off. It's not just him that's hurting, it's me hurting too, because that 3% possibility that he's not her father.
Grab your popcorn, folks, because it's time for some high-tech detective work. They whip out an app that's about to do more math than a NASA launch. By tracking Miss Sandnop's cycle and their intimate moments, they pinpoint the conception window that troublingly includes the night of the alleged infidelity. Just when you thought it couldn't get any more Maury Povich, the next twist will knock your socks off.
So you went back to this app that you discovered.
Yes.
Tell me what this shows me.
The
In yellow are the dates you were ovulating.
Yes, Your Honor.
And then in blue are the dates you were intimate with Mr. Youngvert. And in red, the date of the one-night stand. You have no recollection. Both of these men fall within the window of conception.
Yes, Your Honor.
And now, for the moment that could turn tears into cheers or jeers, the court unveils the results of Miss Sandnop's lie detector test. She's been as truthful as a nun at confession, having no other liaison since the infamous night. But hang tight, the daddy drama is far from over. Brace yourself, because what's coming will either break hearts or mend them.
I can gather that there is very little trust in the relationship.
I trust him 100%. I've gotten over his...
Do you trust her, Mr. Youngvert?
No, he does not.
Not wholeheartedly.
Well, you asked the court for a lie detector test. Lie detector test was administered. We will have those results in just a moment.
You could cut the tension with a knife, or better yet, with a DNA test result.
It has been determined by this court. Mr. Youngvert, you are the father.
Here's where things get juicy. Ms. Eubanks lays down her agenda to confirm Mr. Wilkes is the father of her 3-month-old Maisie, aiming to patch up their rocky relationship and head down the aisle. The judge double-checks her intentions, clarifying the stakes post-DNA test. Trust me, the drama's just heating up.
Ms. Eubanks, you say you are here to save your relationship with the defendant by proving that he is your 3-month-old son, Mozzie's father. Say once today's DNA result prove paternity, you want to get married.
Yes, Your Honor.
Did not see that coming. Mr. Wilkes Wilkes drops a bombshell about his doubts on being Maisie's dad, citing a missing paternal vibe and declaring that a negative paternity test would be the deal breaker for their relationship. The judge nods, understanding the gravity of the situation. Buckle up, the emotional turbulence is next level.
Mr. Wilkes, you claim that when Mozzie was born, you hoped for a sign that he was your son. But no matter how hard you looked, just wasn't there. You say negative paternity result end your relationship.
The end of everything, Your Honor. Yes.
Crank up the drama dial. Ms. Eubanks passionately pours out her heart, detailing the emotional havoc Mr. Wilkes' doubts have wreaked on her. She's rock solid in her belief that he's Maisie's dad and dreams of resolving this mess so they can finally get hitched. Keep watching, the tear ducts are just getting started.
I want to save my relationship because we've been together too long. 1002% sure that he's my child's father. I just want these results for him so we can move forward and get married like we planned.
And how has this doubt affected you?
It affected me emotionally.
I heard you well up with tears.
Get the tissues ready. The judge dives deep, asking Ms. Eubanks about the emotional toll of the ordeal. She explains her tears and emotional distress, showing just how deeply these paternity doubts have cut. The upcoming twist, it's a doozy.
What are you feeling?
Just emotional, like we've been together too long, so you shouldn't have no doubts or no feelings that anything else is going on.
And it's not just that he's doubting you, he's doubting your baby.
It hurts a little bit, but he still does everything like a father is supposed because I love him and I want to be with him.
Feel the tension building? Mr. Wilkes spells out why he's in court. He's desperate for clarity and sick of the sleepless nights filled with doubt about his relationship and Maisie's paternity. He laments the missing bond he usually feels with his kids. The saga continues, and oh, it's a tangled web.
Well, Your Honor, I'm here. I just need results. I'm tired of guessing, wondering, and things of that sort. And like she said, for so long, so I shouldn't have doubts, but I have my reasoning. My kids all give me certain signs. Just didn't feel any type of connection. I even held them up. I did them like the little Simba.
And I can see that you don't take this light. You are troubled about this.
Exactly.
Now, here's a curveball. The backstory of Ms. Eubanks and Mr. Wilkes' love affair starts in an unexpected locale, a strip club during a family birthday bash. It was love at first sight, but the plot thickens after their first child's birth, leading to a break. Brace yourselves. The confrontation ahead is a showstopper.
How this relationship started, and then when it took a turn for the worse.
The relationship started, we met each other at the strip club. There for a family member's birthday party. It was just love at first sight, like we was together every scene. It took a turn for the worse. Our first child was born. We had took a little, I guess what he calls it, a so-called breakup.
Talk about a plot twist. Mr. Wilkes catches a glimpse of Ms. Eubanks' ex entering a house she was staying at post-breakup. This sparks a major showdown as he discovers her in bed, fueling his doubts about her loyalty during their time apart. The courtroom is about to turn up the heat.
I seen her ex at her family member house where she had moved to after the breakup. Catch him going in the house, so me being the person that I am, he walked a little closer to the door. So that's when I got out, because where else was you gonna go, you know? So as I walked to the door, he turns around and walked the other way. She's laying in the bed.
She's laying in the bed like expecting him to come.
When she seen it was me, she was laying in the bed, she was like this, I'm asleep.
Emotions run high in this charged courtroom scene. As accusations fly, Ms. Eubanks defends her fidelity and reiterates her undying love for Mr. Wilkes, fighting through tears to prove her commitment. And just when you think you've seen it all, the climax approaches with heart-stopping suspense.
Because I love him, like I try to show him every day that I'm about you and it's just you.
And you know, even the words you use in your testimony, how you're just trying to prove, and that's not how healthy relationships function.
Right, no, it's not.
So when you're in the phase where you proven and your relationship is some mini Supreme Court case, got to have evidence and proof.
Grab your popcorn, here comes the big reveal. The tension peaks as the judge exposes the paternity test results.
When it comes to 3-month-old Mozzie, it has been determined by this court. Mr. Wilkes, you are the father.
Can you believe he just said that? In an absolute stunner of a statement, Mr. Webb vehemently denies fathering Ms. Cole's child, asserting he never had sexual relations with her. This declaration sends waves of shock through the audience, prompting gasps and murmurs. Ms. Cole counters fiercely, insisting on his paternity, while Mr. Webb dismisses her as completely delusional. This sets the stage for what's essentially the battle of the episode. And just when you think it can't get more heated, the next part takes it up a notch.
So, Mr. Webb, how can you be so certain you are not this child's biological father?
I never had sex with her, Your Honor.
You've never had sex with her?
No.
He did.
She's a liar. She's crazy.
We've heard a lot of defenses in this courtroom. Rarely have we ever heard that never had sex with her.
She's absolutely crazy.
So you think she's just making this up?
Yeah.
Things are heating up now. Ms. Cole lays down a serious claim that Mr. Webb stayed at her place and they shared an intimate night on April 11th, which she believes resulted in her pregnancy. Mr. Webb counters this by claiming their relationship was purely platonic, strictly couch surfing without any romantic entanglements. This discrepancy raises big questions about the nature of their relationship. Buckle up because the revelations just keep coming.
I know for a fact dates line up, and I know he stayed with me for 2 months, and he slept in my bed with me for 1 night, and we had sex. April 11th.
That's when you believe you conceived your daughter?
Yeah.
Wait till you get a load of this. In a crucial courtroom moment, Mr. Webb pulls out a diagram and a string of text messages aimed at debunking Ms. Cole's claims. He's visibly frustrated, eager to put an end to the ongoing allegations and clear his name once and for all. His presentation adds a layer of drama and suspense to the proceedings. Stick around. The next testimony is a doozy.
Mr. Webb, how did you find out she was pregnant? Do you have a diagram?
Yes.
I'd like to see it. Please step forward.
She messaged me saying, hey, I got an ultrasound. I had said, okay, can we leave it at that, Tasha? It's not my baby. I'm trying to do right in my life and move on. This is not doing either of us any good, so just favor and stay out of my life in the inbox. I feel like she's trying to say that I'm the baby daddy, but not. I said, I'm not trying to be mean. I just want, but when it comes to her and what she's put me through with the lies the last year, I can't take it no more.
This admission is a game changer. Suddenly, Ms. Cole throws a curveball into the mix by admitting there might be another potential father, adding a twist of doubt about the child's paternity. This confession injects new complexity into the case, revealing Ms. Cole's uncertain emotional state and complicating the narrative. You think that's wild? Just wait for what's next.
So you admitted there's another possibility, and you say you've been upfront since the beginning. It's either Mr. Webb or this other
As
gentleman.
soon as I took the pregnancy test, immediately texted him and called the other guy, and I told both that the other guy was the dad until my due date got changed a month ahead, which would make him the dad. February 22nd to January 28th.
Here comes the moment of truth. The tension peaks as Judge Lake prepares to deliver the DNA test results.
It has been determined by this court, Mr. Webb, you are not her father.
Oh, you're crazy. You need to go to a mental hospital.
Strap in for this one. The episode kicks off with Ms. Jones giving us the lowdown on her breakup with Mr. Houston, which apparently stemmed from his inability to resist peer pressure and his general immaturity. They split just a week before their prom because, well, he couldn't think for himself. The plot thickens. Let's see how this unfolds.
Ms. Jones, where did your relationship with the defendant go?
Well, Your Honor, he was so immature that I had to break it off with him a week before prom. Everybody in his ear, he doesn't have a brain for himself.
Get a load of this. Ms. Jones confirms they were high school sweethearts, which brings a lighthearted moment as Mr. Houston humorously claims he doesn't think for himself. Much get a load of this. Ms. Jones confirms they were high school sweethearts, which brings a lighthearted moment as Mr. Houston humorously claims he doesn't think for himself, much to the amusement of everyone watching. As the giggles die down, the mood shifts when fidelity, or the lack thereof, gets thrown into the spotlight. Brace yourselves, it's about to get rocky.
Were you boyfriend and girl?
Yes.
In high school?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you think for yourself?
No.
You don't. Who thinks for you? You do.
Yes, my son thinks for himself. She broke up a few days before prom. It was not.
It was a week before.
It was 2 or 3 days before
No,
prom.
it was a week before prom.
Broke
It
up
was a week.
because she was getting confronted of cheating on me.
Can you believe what just happened? Accusations start flying like pies in a food fight as Ms. Jones and Ms. Houston, Mr. Houston's mom, accuse each other of dishonesty and infidelity. Ms. Houston claims to have seen texts on Ms. Jones's phone that were definitely not about borrowing sugar. Watch out. The next part is a real doozy.
You're right, because me and my daughter were catching text messages coming through your phone. The one about the gentleman asking about, did y'all have a good time last night?
It wasn't a
and then
text
you
message.
denied it?
How did you see text messages in a high school girl's phone?
Because she used to let my daughter use her phone like to play on. My daughter's, she's 15 now, but at my house, sitting on my couch, because she used to come
I
up,
never let her use
phone.
my phone. She used
She
to
would
use
bounce
my
the
phone.
Wi-Fi
I never
off,
got
whatever.
shit.
So
hold on, one at a time.
This twist will make your head spin. Ms. Jones admits she put off telling Mr. Houston about her pregnancy until the 8-month mark due to the ongoing drama and her rough first trimester. And just when you think it can't get more dramatic, it does. Stay tuned, things are heating up.
I told him when I was 8 months, because I had
told him when you were 8 months.
No, she called me on my phone.
Because he didn't have a phone at the time, Your Honor, because he didn't have a job.
When you call somebody 8 months pregnant and say, hey, I just found your number in my old phone. You guys are too much drama. I didn't want to tell you I was pregnant.
You're not going to believe this bit. As tensions climb, Ms. Jones spills the beans on how she broke the news of her pregnancy. pregnancy, which coincidentally happened as Mr. Houston was starting anew with Ms. Hasty, also pregnant. If you thought this was juicy, just wait till what's next.
I decided that I wasn't sure if I was going to involve you guys. And then plus I had a hard first trimester, involved myself with all that drama. I'm gonna call you back. And then she called me back and then she was like, his girlfriend Savannah. And I was like, what does she have to do with my pregnancy? And then she was like, because that's who he's dating now. She's pregnant also. I was like, well, that has to
Wait, another girl pregnant?
Yeah, she didn't tell me until she found out she was pregnant.
This next minute is packed with more twists than a pretzel factory. The discussion shifts to Mr. Houston, juggling relationships and impending fatherhood with not one, but two different young women. It's a soap opera in the making. And just when you thought it couldn't get more tangled.
How the heck I'm gonna know she's pregnant and how I know you was dating her?
Pregnant, all of a sudden the phone call came. Because you know these
yeah, so like I just like
and you 18
and
years
he was
old
dating her
with two girls pregnant at the same time.
Well, if you would have known the first one, maybe he wouldn't have did the same.
Oh well, if you wouldn't, I wouldn't gone through all that drama.
Oh, what a tangled web we weave. Ms. Jones recounts how she repeatedly asked for a DNA test amid community whispers that she might have named several potential daddies. The plot thickens even further in the next minute, so keep your eyes peeled.
Your Honor, I asked for DNA multiple times, more than 3 times, because I already, that me telling them at 8 months that I was pregnant, I already knew it was probably gonna be like some denial. So I offered the DNA test. She was
why
like,
did the coworker say somebody else was the baby daddy?
What coworker?
The manager said.
The manager
claiming to be her baby daddy.
Wait till you get a load of this. Ms. Hasty steps up and throws another curveball into the mix, testifying about overheard conversations that suggest Ms. Jones might have declared multiple men as potential fathers. This episode is turning into a real barn burner.
You are now Mr. Houston's
girlfriend.
And you also have a child together. When you were working, a coworker told you something about Ms. Jones.
My manager did.
What did they say?
Is this the dude that dated Nakisha? And I said, yeah, that's him. The dude told me, and that's over there stalking, and he pointed him out to me and was like that, told him that he was the father of her child.
Just when you thought it couldn't get any wilder, the court digs deeper into the allegation, questioning the evidence of Ms. Jones's supposed infidelity and its implications for the paternity dispute. Buckle up, because the next minute packs a punch.
What other evidence do you have that would suggest that Ms. Jones was sleeping with more than one person?
When she broke up with my son, she dropped him for another gentleman to go to prom with. When we were actually in the car with her, she answered the phone. There was a gentleman on the other line. Oh, you got the wrong number? We have numerous of people in the family that were hearing things.
This is where it gets really juicy. The focus shifts to Mr. Houston's conspicuously absent fatherly duties towards Ms. Jones's child, contrasted starkly with his involvement in his child with Ms. Hasty. The hypocrisy is palpable. Wait till you see what's up next. It's a game changer.
Mr. Houston, have you played any role in Lyric's life thus far? No. Have you seen him?
No.
They never tried, and I let her see willingly. For them to be like, I won't let them see the baby.
So why would not
they have
come
multiple
to him? He has to come by
and
himself.
I keep asking them every time we set up a date for them to come see the baby.
Because Nigel,
they wouldn't even show up.
Hold on to your popcorn. This next part is a doozy. We dive into the financial woes of single motherhood as Ms. Jones outlines the hefty expenses she shouldered alone. Mr. Houston's wallet remains as closed as a clam. You won't want to miss what the judge has to say about this.
You submitted to the court a list of the physical receipts for clothes, diapers, food, toiletries, toys, books, totaling $2,819 and furniture. Yes, of course, we need that. You've not gotten one dime of support from Mr. Houston.
No, ma'am.
Did someone say plot twist? The court challenges Mr. Houston on his lack of financial contribution and his life choices, putting his responsibilities, or lack thereof, under a microscope. And just when you think you've heard it all, there's more to come. Stay tuned for the verdict.
You admittedly haven't sent any money. Do you have a job?
No, I go to school.
What about after school? How in the world do you think you making babies in this world and don't have a job? Who's supposed to take care of them? Me?
No.
How do you think you cannot have a job?
What?
What? It's called excuse me, ma'am.
Excuse me, ma'am?
Here today, I don't know who's teaching you, but I'm gonna give you a lesson.
I'm teaching.
Well, you're not. When I say something, the answer's not what.
Okay.
You didn't teach him.
Here comes the lesson of the day. Judge Lake doesn't mince words as she schools Mr. Houston on balancing work and education, especially when kids are in the picture. This lecture might just be what the doctor ordered. The DNA results are next, and you'll want a front row seat for this.
How is it you think you can't have a job?
I ain't said I couldn't have a job.
Why don't you have one?
I don't know.
Are you applying?
Yes, ma'am.
Sometimes they need tough love. Sometimes they need to be told what is acceptable and what is not acceptable. Not lowered to there. Let them reach for the star. When I corrected him, the next time he responded to me, he did it correct because I corrected him.
And now, the moment we've all been waiting for. The DNA test results are disclosed.
It has been determined by this court. Mr. Houston, you are the father.
Boom!
Miss Jones, don't act silly.
Mr. Rajat claims his wife went on a little adventure while he was away, and then, boom, she's pregnant soon after he returns. He's now demanding a paternity test and a lie detector test to get to the bottom of this baby drama. Stick around, because you're not going to want to miss what comes up next. Grab your tissues. This part gets a bit teary. Mrs. King Rajat spills the beans on how her husband's denial of their daughter Destiny is shredding their family vibe. She details the disparities in how he treats their other kids compared to Destiny. You'll want to see how Mr. Rajat wiggles his way out of this one, coming up shortly. You might need a genetics textbook for this next bit. Mr. Rajat is hung up on hair and eye colors, bringing out a family tree diagram to prove his point about Destiny not fitting the mold. Get ready for a family tree shakeup in just a moment.
I may stay distant a little bit, due to my concerns, but I treat her the same as all the other children.
Right now.
And here she goes on the defense. Mrs. King Rajat stands her ground, denying any extramarital escapades. She admits to chatting with other guys, but insists it was all above board. Fasten your seatbelts, because Mr. Rajat's reaction is just around the corner. Talk about awkward medical news. Mrs. King Rajat drops a bombshell about contracting an STD while pregnant, pointing fingers at Mr. Rajat's fidelity, or lack thereof. As you reel from that, stay tuned to see how Mr. Rajat scrambles to defend himself. The courtroom was buzzing with anticipation as Miss Looper started her tale. Miss Looper recounts her initial impression of Mr. Diaz as a respectable churchgoer and family man, which drastically changed after they started a relationship and she discovered his true character. She describes the early days of their connection, filled with shared interests and activities, which later soured due to trust issues stemming from Mr. Diaz going through her phone. What unfolds next will turn the drama up a notch, so brace yourself.
You say you thought the defendant was a church-going family man. Turned out to be anything but. You claim that after giving birth to your twins, Brayley and Bishop, fathering your baby. Mr. Downs, you say Looper carried on a secret relationship behind your back up until she found out she was pregnant. There is no way you are the father of her twins.
As jaws dropped around the room, the plot thickened dramatically. During the court hearing, Mr. Diaz expresses his disbelief that he could be the father of Miss Looper's twins, citing her ongoing interactions with other men. Miss Looper admits to not completely severing ties with other relationships when they started dating, which fuels Mr. Diaz's doubts about paternity. The situation escalates when Mr. Diaz finds incriminating messages on Miss Looper's phone, leading to a major confrontation and trust issues. Just when you think it can't get more convoluted, the next twist is a real doozy.
I found the perfect family man, but I soon found out that was when we first met. Mr. Downs was amazing. He went to church, and as soon as we talked, our music, everything vibed. It was great. Then we ran into some problems, and I did have a lot of open doors.
Open doors. So you still had other relations you had not quite cut off.
Absolutely. This was 2 weeks after we started hanging out.
Hold on to your seats, because here comes a curveball. The relationship dynamics change significantly after Mr. Diaz discovers the messages on Miss Looper's phone, impacting their interactions and plans for a future together. Miss Looper reveals she was pregnant shortly after the incident, which temporarily brought them closer again. Despite the turmoil, Mr. Diaz participates actively during the pregnancy, indicating a temporary reconciliation. If you thought this was wild, just wait until the babies come into the picture.
To the day you saw the phone, what was going on? How did you even have her phone?
Just something told me to pick up the phone, and I did it. And I'm looking through the phone, I'm like, and I bring it to her, and I'm seeing messages from other dudes and all this other stuff. So I'm like, what is this? Messages are just trying to, hook up with her and stuff like that. So
is she accepting the advancement?
Yes, Your Honor. I was in the process of closing those doors.
No, you don't close the door by saying, yeah, we can have sex. That's opening the door.
Here's where things get even spicier. At the birth of the twins, Mr. Diaz's doubt resurfaces, especially when he sees the lighter complexion of one of the twins, Bray. He requests a DNA test immediately, but shows a connection with the other twin, Bishop, whom he feels resembles him more. This moment highlights Mr. Diaz's mixed feelings and his struggle between doubt and desire to be a father. Buckle up, because the emotional roller coaster is about to go off the rails.
I just sent him a picture of the pregnancy test.
And what was his response?
I don't remember his exact response, but I just remember him being nonchalant about it.
I was at work. Like I said, I've been through your phone. I mean, what do you want me to do? You want me to jump for joy?
So your okay was already because of what you saw on the phone?
Yes, feel. I mean, after I found this out, ain't no way I'm gonna sit here and lips or nothing.
So how does it get to the point where you just leave the okay and doing that? How does it get to that?
I got 3 other children outside of these 2 we're here for today.
As if the story couldn't get any more tangled, another twist unravels. Miss Looper discusses another potential father contacting her after seeing a post-birth picture of Bray, increasing the complexity of the situation. Mr. Diaz recounts his earlier doubts about Miss Looper's fidelity and the paternity paternity of the twins, exacerbated by her quick assurance that he was the only unprotected partner. This revelation intensifies the paternity doubt and sets the stage for further discord. You won't believe what happens next. Get ready for an emotional showdown.
When the twins were born,
as soon as they brought Brayley into the room, the first thing he said was, "Do you guys do DNA tests here? I've never had a kid come out that light." But he did go see my son, and he did say that he looked like him.
you didn't feel like you could be her father.
I mean, I know it don't really matter about the collection and stuff, but like I said, all my kids favor me, just extremely. I seen more Bishop in me than Brayley, and at the same time, like I said, I know there's another man been involved.
The courtroom was on the edge of their seats, tears and gasps filling the air. Mr. Diaz explains his deep emotional ties to the hospital where the twins were born, which also holds painful memories of past personal losses. This emotional backdrop adds another layer of complexity to his reaction to the twins' birth and his fluctuating involvement in their lives. The discussion reveals the intertwined feelings of hope, pain, and suspicion that characterize Mr. Diaz's experiences of fatherhood. The climax is just around the corner, and it's a heart-stopper.
As me being a father, like I said, I've never had to deal with any suspicion of any of my other kids. Wondering, okay, well, am I going up here to see somebody else's kids, or am I going up here to support her for her and her other dude's kids, because he needs to be here if that's the case. At the same time, I talked to Robin about a situation too. I also lost 2 of my other babies in that very same room that she was sitting, and I told her it's hard for me to deal with that. That's the first thing that goes through my mind is me losing my other 2 daughters.
As the tension builds to a fever pitch, everyone's waiting for the next bomb to drop. The court session progresses with testimonies about the immediate post-birth period, during which Mr. Diaz's doubts prevent him from signing the birth certificate. The emotional distance between him and Miss Looper grows, culminating in her decision to move back to California, amid unresolved paternity and trust issues. The truth is about to be revealed, and it's a game changer.
He knows my face, he knows who I am, and Brayley does too to an extent, but it's just something about son, man, when I see him, and it's like he just...
And you feel this because the twins are fraternal twins, right? So knowing this adds to your belief. Essentially, you're the father of only one.
Yes, ma'am.
This is fascinating.
This is it, the final revelation that will shake the courtroom to its core. The paternity test results are revealed.
It has been determined by this court, Mr. Downs, you are not the father.
You won't see this coming. Ms. Woodbury confidently states that her fiancé, Mr. Cage, is the father of their 1-year-old son, Lexington. She details how her reality TV fame complicates their life, forcing her to prove paternity, not only to Mr. Cage, but to an audience of doubters fueled by social media. Buckle up, because the next scene is even juicier.
Ms. Woodbury, you claim you are 110% certain that your fiancé, Mr. Cage, is the father of your 1-year-old son, Lexington. Your reality TV persona has put you in the position of having to prove paternity to Mr. Cage, but also all of the naysayers on social media and the world.
This is where it gets spicy. Ms. Woodbury laments how her fun and sexy public image has led to widespread misconceptions and personal challenges. Her life seems more like a scripted drama, influencing how others perceive her private matters. Stick around, because things are about to get even wilder.
It could be not even denying our son, or no matter what I do with my life, someone has an opinion.
And so let's be completely honest. Your public, often you're portrayed as a girl that's fun, carefree, sexy. This entire image, you believe, is now almost kind of backfired in that these people expect you to be something you're saying you're not.
Yes, Your Honor.
Grab your popcorn. Mr. Cage recounts their Instagram to real-life love story, which took off from a friend's Snapchat recommendation and led to an impromptu meetup that quickly turned intimate. It's a modern-day romance with a fast-forward button. But hold on, the next clip turns up the heat.
You know, I want you to come out, I want you to hang out with me and some of my friends.
You can't bring your friend.
But you can't bring your friend. I got in the Uber, I pulled up to the event, and she just pulled up. Walk into the club, do the walkthrough, and then after that, it was history.
Oh, wait, you said history?
Yeah.
Oh, so what does that mean?
So
you do the walkthrough.
Yeah.
I invited him back home. He didn't leave after that. He stayed.
Get ready for a curveball. Persistent rumors and gossip continue to cloud Mr. Cage's mind about Ms. Woodbury's loyalty, thanks to their circle of not-so-helpful friends. Each whisper adds more fuel to his fiery doubts, and just when you think it can't escalate further, the next revelation drops.
People were always telling me, they were just like, even some of her co-stars, they were just like, hey, listen, don't trust Kaylee, she's out there. Birds of a feather flock together. So it was just like, oh, if you're hanging out with them, you must be...
So were you out there, Miss Woodbury? Tell what was going on?
I was having fun. I'm 21, I'm having fun. I'm going out dancing, partying. Yeah, I'm partying.
Talk about a plot twist. The plot thickens as Mr. Cage brings up a music artist who bears an uncanny resemblance to him, stirring up the paternity pot even more. This doppelganger dilemma triggers more than a few awkward conversations. But don't wander off. The storyline takes another twist just ahead.
There was a artist and scarily resembles me. It's kind of weird. We resemble each other and everyone thinks so as well. They talked all the time. She says,
About what?
we don't talk
About
all the time.
what? Music.
I don't know because I never checked. But the things that he was saying and some of my family members were very disrespectful and you just brushed it right off.
Are you still with us? Amid growing doubts, Mr. Cage confronts Ms. Woodbury about her relationship with the look-alike artist, questioning the nature of their conversations. Ms. Woodbury stands her ground, insisting it's all innocent. The suspense is building, and you'll want to see what's next.
Do you believe at some point intimate with this guy?
I feel so.
But I've never ever hung out with him outside of, like, without him there.
But you
never ever hung out with the guy.
You've hung out with him prior.
Everyone was around.
These were
and you
multiple
saw,
times.
All
I remember
our
you're
other
telling me
friends
that
were
you're
there.
always with him.
This relationship with this guy has not always been but you're trying to lean into your trust, physical, emotional, sexual connection.
I believe you're 100%.
Things are getting thorny. When their friends suggest a DNA test, the level of mistrust becomes palpable, shaking Ms. Woodbury to her core. This bombshell doesn't just stir the pot, it practically flips it over. Gear up, because the next part is a real game changer.
They're very close to both of us. They're like, you need to get a DNA test. We don't even trust it. So when it was at, and I told you specifically that me and this person sat down because she couldn't film. Yeah, you remember that now, don't you? And she told me.
I didn't know about the
She
DNA
told me
thing.
everything. She told me not to trust you, how not to trust you and the guy. She told me all of that. And she told me to watch out.
How will they bounce back? Judge Lake points out that Ms. Woodbury's public image is complicating their personal life and casting doubt on her relationship. The emotional fallout is real and raw. Fasten your seatbelts, because the ride isn't over yet.
What it seems like to me is this public persona was affecting your relationship.
Very much so. Then especially when it's my child, like our child, and you're gonna deny him, like it hurts because there are fathers out there and they still deny it, and I obviously don't. Like you could 110% look, that's his, gosh, that's his child.
Can it get any more intense? The focus shifts to whether little Lexington looks more like Mr. Cage or the mysterious music artist. Ms. Woodbury tries to dispel the doubts with a comparison of features. The tension is palpable, and the next moment will have you on the edge of your seat.
Daquan has big eyes. He says he do. And I got small little eyes. I got colored eyes. Lexington has brown eyes. Naturally, I have blonde hair. I dye it all the time. Pin straight hair.
So, Ms. Woodbury, I don't want to interrupt you, but I want to say there are certain lyrics in this courtroom that are familiar. When you start singing a song about, and see, says he's got dimples and he's got dimples. He's got an eye and he's got an eye. Right?
Here's the big reveal. The court session reaches its peak as Judge Lake announces the paternity results.
It has been determined by this court. Mr. Cage, you are the father.
Can you believe this twist? Mr. McCormick starts off by painting a picture of shattered dreams, having once believed he found his dream partner in Ms. Ball, only to later discover her repeated infidelities. He vehemently labels her as a serial cheater, adamant that there is absolutely no chance he is the father of her son, Gavin. Let's just say, buckle up, because Ms. Ball's comeback is not to be missed.
You say you thought you found the perfect woman until you discovered the love of your life with just a serial cheater on a rampage. You say Ms. Ball is a shameless adulterer, and there is no way you are her son Gavin's father.
Now, here's where it gets juicy. Ms. Ball, on the other hand, admits to her romantic escapades, but is completely certain that Mr. McCormick is indeed Gavin's dad. She's here to prove paternity and clear the air, standing firm against Mr. McCormick's storm of accusations. And guess what? The courtroom's about to turn up the heat even more.
You admit to having stepped out on your relationship in the past, but you are positive Mr. McCormick, father of your son, you intend to prove paternity today.
Yes, Your Honor.
So, Mr. McCormick, what do you mean she's a serial cheater?
This backstory might raise some eyebrows. The judge digs into how their love story began at a seemingly innocent party, which quickly escalated to them moving in together. They reminisce about the good old days with a nostalgic glow, despite the chaos that followed. Just wait, the narrative twists in the next segment are something else.
Nature of your relationship, how did it begin?
We saw each other at a party, and when I first saw him, I was physically attracted to him. And so I started talking to him. I asked him if he wanted to hang out. I said, where can we hang out? And he said, you can go to my house. And we've been together ever since.
All right.
Prepare for a roller coaster of emotions here. Mr. McCormick shares the deep hurt and confusion over possibly not being Gavin's father, his doubts fueled by Ms. Ball's early infidelity. He even brings an exhibit to court to visually prove his claims of her ongoing cheating. And just when you think you've seen it all, the next exhibit really throws a spanner in the works.
It really hurts, because I'm a softie. She cheated early in a relationship, and it just kind of put doubt with it, in my mind throughout.
Gavin, there's no way that could be a bond and not be father and son.
I've even brought some examples.
You brought an exhibit?
I brought an exhibit, Your Honor.
Please step up. Let's review that exhibit.
Yeah, cross?
Yes.
Well, Your Honor, this is how you catch a serial cheater.
And it just keeps getting wilder. The exhibit reveals footage of Ms. Ball with another man, which Mr. McCormick interprets as undeniable proof of her betrayal. As he details these supposed clandestine encounters, the courtroom buzzes with anticipation. What comes next? Well, it's a doozy.
I kind of stayed back, and then I was following her. I saw her getting to a truck. Strange guy. He was like 25 years old.
Why would you let me get in?
Okay, strange guy.
That's the strange guy.
Okay.
Truck. I asked her who it was. Said it was another family member, which I know is like 2 years old. He doesn't wear his hat sideways, and
so it was a young guy.
A young guy. Yeah.
And you believe she was cheating.
I mean, what else would you be doing? Why else would she lie about it? And she was actually before she took off. That's the reason I'd followed her.
This part is a real game changer. Ms. Ball drops a bombshell by admitting to the affairs and the possibility of another man being Gavin's father. This confession is a turning point, revealing the tangled web of their relationship and raising serious questions about paternity. You'll want to see Mr. McCormick's reaction in the upcoming segment. It's quite something.
There was a time I came home from work, and there was a text message on the phone. I picked up the phone, pretended to be Miss Ball, and texted some sexual stuff. They texted back. I texted, "Can we do the same thing that we did last time we hung out?" And he said some things, and that's when the picture of the junk came through. And so I know something was going on.
Brace yourself for his heartfelt response. As the court delves deeper into Mr. McCormick's emotional turmoil, he shares how attached he has become to Gavin, despite his uncertainties about being his biological father. Ms. Ball vehemently argues for the familial resemblance, hinting at deeper emotional ties. The suspense builds as they edge closer to the DNA results reveal.
He's crazy.
That was a lot of information.
He knows Gavin is his
But
child.
you have admitted said that. I have admitted.
The insecurities that I've created, anything that he can't absolutely find an answer for, it creates doubt.
Once you cheat, now that opens the door where we don't believe nothing you have to say.
It all boils down to this moment. Get ready for a big reveal as the judge announces the DNA test results.
It has been determined by this court. Mr. McCormick, you are the father.
Thank you.